now we're officially live.
What you looking at, Etsy? Oh, you're just grooming. You smell like fresh linen, buddy.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm sure chat would let us know if we're too loud or too quiet.
I was gonna say we could figure that out right now.
Stop.
Stop what?
My phone keeps giving me freaking notifications as I'm trying to do something, and I'm like, stop.
I see. Well, that must be unfortunate.
Stop. Oh. Like every time I go to click on something, it just pops up with a notification that blocks me from selecting what I want to select.
That's most unfortunate, truly. Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't sound bad. Here, listen. I was gonna say, it's...
Hello. Yeah, that's really quiet, so I can't hear it. But
I thought I heard it just fine, but I don't know.
Again. Yeah. There we go.
Like I said, don't overcomplicate.
Well, I wanted to make sure we can both hear both of our microphones when we talk, so go ahead and say something, honey.
Okay. Which is a valid point. It's good to be heard.
Yeah, that wasn't at all. All right, hold on. Go ahead and talk now.
I am talking. Oh, okay.
I need you to keep talking.
Oh, no, you just said talk. You didn't say to continuously ramble.
I wanted to make sure that your audio was normal and not coming in twice.
Yes.
You just said, And I'm like, no, more.
You didn't specify, okay? Like, this is called, communication. That's the word I was looking for. Man.
HBW, you get it.
Like, dude.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh no.
Too much hair.
Oh, while we get blah 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 blah. Add source. Yes. Text. Add. Text that we will be adding is dat. Dat. With a D.
With a D. Dat.
Oh, it won't let me put it down there? I guess you gotta be dis then.
Oh, I guess I'm this.
No.
No?
This specific one is dis.
Oh, I see.
I have to go this image, that one. Why wouldn't it let me put it down there?
The mysteries of TikTok. Oh.
So this is dis.
Yes.
I'm gonna lock that image down.
Yes.
We add another text. Yes.
Yes, for that. I will be right back while you...
For dat. D-A-T. Dat. Dat has left me all alone. There, I think that works. That works pretty well, y'all. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Wasn't able to see the last one. Hope I'll try later. Hope to get to see it. Oh, it's from me mom. So sweet. My mom is so nice. So supportive. Unlike the rest of you on this chat.
You're funny.
No support. I'm sorry. My juice. My juice. My hair. My luxurious hair. I just ripped it out. Like this juice. The smoothie.
Oh. I forgot you even had that.
But I have a little bit. Remember I got a really bad brain freeze?
Yeah, I remember. Oh. Forgot how to use this thing. There we go. I was thinking.
Huh?
I forgot how to use that thing, so I'm just like, how do I like again?
Let me put your headset on.
Yes. Alrighty, engaged.
Alright, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Intros.
Like I said, do you want me to do it or did you want to?
Do what?
The intro.
Well, hello everybody, welcome to that? Or what are you saying?
I was gonna say, good evening, fellow nuts. Welcome to Two Squirrel, One Nut, an OJ Studio production. On this episode of Two Squirrel, One Nut, workplace shenanigans.
Workplace shenanigans.
And as always, folks, it's time to
Drop the nut. Drop the nut.
see, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways, this is a PNG Pawdcast.
yes,
I am Dis,
and I am that.
and we are the nuts.
Yes, together we are this and that nut.
Dis nut, dat nut.
Exactly.
And everybody in the comment section, you are also nuts.
We're all nuts.
But the little chat menu that y'all may see, well, you guys won't see it, but we see it. The little chat box is the sack.
Yes.
It's the nut sack. Da 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 da. Okay, I'm sorry.
One day you'll just wing with it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like the co-host said, we're gonna be talking about workplace shenanigans.
Yes.
Any kind of like odd, funny, scary work event or work thing that we're talking about, or
Work happenstance.
I ended that on a question because I wasn't sure.
Well, we clearly both have the squirrel ADHD,
Yeah.
and this is why we call it drop the nut, because it's always getting dropped constantly.
Well, but we didn't drop the nut. We didn't discuss what the nut was. That's what my question was.
We were just talking about it. We said the nut.
The workplace shenanigans is the nut.
Yes.
That's what I was saying. I asked a question.
Did you?
What kind of shenanigans are we talking about? Like scary, funny,
All
things
the
that happen
above.
to us, etc., etc.
Yes. Yes, why limit when we can talk about it all?
Sounds good.
Wonderful. And, of course, any names and hoo-has and what all that will...
Who-has? What?
I don't know.
Who's its and what's that?
Who's this and what's that? Who-has, who's this and what's that?
No.
Similar.
No.
Anyways, moving forward, why limit when you can just rant about them all?
Yeah, so these ones are going to be ones that we've experienced, the others that we've witnessed,
Yes.
like things that happen to us at the workplace, things that we may have caused at the workplace that may be funny or may not be funny, or just in general things that we've heard happen to other people at workplaces.
Yes. So, did you want to start it off, or would you?
I have nothing right now.
You have nothing.
Yeah.
Well, folks, luckily that nut came prepared. So, I am a squirrel that has so many titles under their name. So many. I used to work in retail. I've dealt with food at one point. I dealt with tutoring, hospital work, and of course office work. So, squirrel of many hats. And one of my most interesting workplace scenario is definitely when I was in the hospital. And I know a lot of people who don't work in that place usually get their general knowledge from Grey's Anatomy and those type of shows. And while that can happen, there have been many juicy details and all that, and scandalous affairs that do happen in the hospital.
Yeah, of course.
But those aren't the ones that interest me. Like, if I really wanted to deal with that, I can give a synapse of Grey's Anatomy and call it a day. Nah, what interests me are the more unique and funny stories. Like, for example, my charge, Bob. So, the thing you have to understand about Bob is that he is well over 6 feet, maybe 6'4", and as a tall tree, he's intimidating on his own. And accompany that with RBF, that makes for one very intimidating first impressions. So, me being 5'2" and a scaredy squirrel, I didn't really interact with him a whole lot. And then, when I got to know him, I realized that he's super funny, super sarcastic, and just a total goofball. And with Bob, he and the manager, Cece, did not get along. And Cece sure let him know it. Cece always gave Bob all the assignments that Bob would not like, purposefully. And with that, they had a very, very tumultuous relationship at work, or work relationship rather. And when Cece got fired, Bob's face lit up like a Christmas tree. And like I said, this tall, scary tree was frolicking, laughing, and even singing down the hallway, celebrating the fact that Cece got canned. And wouldn't you know it, Bob brought a cake. And, I was just like, this Bob. And of course, from then on, I wanted to be his friends more than anything. But, first impressions aren't always what they seem. I have more. I was just waiting to see if that sparked anything.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it does, but I was also like looking at other things, and I didn't know what.
The ADHD.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had an incident where, let me think. If I had a coworker that was excited about somebody getting canned or let go.
Or just, a coworker that you met and they ended up surprising you. Like, you thought they were one way and, oh, wow, turns out they're the other.
Oh, I have one. Okay. I have one. Okay, so this is way back in the day. Back when back when Dis was a cart pusher at a at it doesn't matter what store. I mean, you can piece it together. It used to be like one of the highest paying jobs of this store, but just before I got, and this is BS, but I got demoted. It was a willful demotion because I was promised that I would get my old job back. That was a lie. It was such a lie. But
you're not.
I muted. But yeah, they just basically what's the word I'm looking for? Betrayed me, or double-crossed, duped, bamboozled, if you will. But at any rate, I enjoyed pushing carts. That's probably an origin of where my back actually went bad, because we didn't have one of those cart mules, the electric cart pusher things. We manually had to push carts, and I had like a record of like 84, 87 carts pushed at once. It was, for those of you that don't know, these are metal shopping carts. They're not heavy by themselves, but when you put 80 of them in a line, it gets very difficult to push. So you use gravity to help you. So you lift it up, and then the gravity will help you push. I digress. This has nothing to do with me being awesome at that job. But because I was good at this job, and I was one of the longest standing cart pushers there, excuse me, I hit my mic, I basically was in charge of training people, which, let's be honest, training someone how to push carts is the stupidest thing ever. Like, oh, here, let me how to teach you how to push a shopping cart from the parking lot back to the store. Like genuinely, that's dumb. But whatever, they're like, okay, new person, shadow underneath this person, and there you go. So me and another cart guy were team working this, because again, once you get over like a certain amount of carts, you can't steer it. So one person would push, or the other person would steer. So that's basically what we were trying to train this person on. And we asked him all these various questions, just like, so what have you done before this? What have you, and just, it was just some young, I don't want to say kid, but around our age. At the time, I guess we were kids. It was like 19, 20. So I think he was about like 18, maybe 20, somewhere in that range. Looked very young. So we're like, cool. What are you into? Comic books, video games, cars, hunting, etc. Like anything of interest. And they're like, oh yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Just seems like a normal, neutral kid. Whatever. And my friend asked him, I should say my coworker asked him, hey, just out of curiosity, this is a question I always ask people, but do you partake in any substances of any kind? And my coworker was a very green person, and that's what he was asking, if he also was a very green person. And this kid is just like, looks over at me, goes like, yeah, I do that, but I also do math. M-A-T-H, math. I'm pretty sure you can change one of those letters around to make that substance that's like, oh, that's not just like an introductory that's a hardcore, like that is a hardcore substance. That is like, who opens up a conversation that way, like responds to a conversation that way? Hold on, I'm being talked to by one of our co-producers. Anyways, he sorry, just caught me off guard. Yeah, he just like casually just threw that out there, and I'm like, I don't think we should like work in the same vicinity anymore. I don't trust you. Dear God. And then he not only did he mention math, but he also mentioned salt that you put in a bath, which at the time was one of those horrifying substances that you'd hear about in the news, where people were eating each other's faces and stuff. Yeah, so when me and my buddy at the time heard him say these things, we're just like, I don't think you should work here anymore. And then like shortly after that, he was just gone. Like, I don't know why. Either he left or somebody told him, or a test came back, positive for something.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and I'm like, who opens it up that way?
I honestly wish I knew, because, like, I'll be honest, when you said the word math, my brain automatically went to, of course, mathematics.
Yeah.
And, like, what's a high level of mathematics? Calculus, of course.
Yes.
and about his suspicious, sus even equations like dividing by 0.
0 divided by 0. Isn't that what it is? Isn't that the
No,
joke?
anything divided by 0.
Oh.
It's the whole thing where you get in compute.
Really? I thought it was 0 divided by 0. I got it in compute.
I thought it was
Because if
anything
you divide
divided
by 0, it's going to be 0.
I mean, if you divide 0 by itself, sure, but I'm saying anything else divided by 0.
Is going to be 0.
No. Wait,
What's 0 times 1?
I get what you're saying, but I'm pretty sure that
But
I don't know.
in division, isn't it just a reverse multiplication?
in a way, but no, there was something.
I'm
there
not
was
really good with
something.
math, so
I forgot what it was, but there was something that divided by something else. You're just
I'm
like
pretty sure it was 0.
not even. I am too, but then you're saying it's not. So
No, 0 divided by 0.
I don't think it's 0. I think it's anything divided by 0, not 0 divided by 0.
Anything 9 divided by 0. You can't divide by 0. That's what it is. You're right. I don't know why I thought like you can.
Bro.
Because you can multiply by 0 and it would give you an
Yes.
answer.
But not
But you can't divide by 0? I guess you
because
can't divide by
anything times
nothing.
0 is still going to be 0, so technically nothing can go into that but 0.
Math is weird, y'all.
Like this is a tangent from
This
that.
is why I'm not good at math.
Yes. That and I don't understand why people question me about math. When
Look.
No. This squirrel is gonna get that nut and explain himself about that nut. Okay? Okay. So, I have tortured and tolerated up to Calc 3. That was the last math that I decided that I was going to put up with when I was in, squirrel school. And with that is a lot of math that no one needs to endure when they're not going to engineering. And so, people in my life, for whatever reason, decide that they're going to question me on math when, I don't know, I might have tutored them in said math. That's not this.
That's not me.
That's a
I
different
was not
acid.
tutored.
So, s'excuse you, senor, that. Anyways, like I said, I know my math when I want to.
That's fair.
So,
What about you? Have you had any substance style or like crazy things coming from a coworker?
not really, not any school subjects per se. Crazy, yes. I've heard some crazy stories from coworkers. Between hearing about them having to medically straddle a patient and accidentally getting pee in their mouth. Different people, but still. Those are one of the crazier things that felt like a fever dream. Or a mathematics-induced dream, if you will. Yes, fever dream. Mathematics.
Do you understand what I mean by math?
Yes.
Okay.
I just leaned into the other.
You said mathematics,
I do.
which is referencing. Go on.
Okay.
Was that it?
No, I was really confused as to where you were going with that thought.
Well, okay, so when I mentioned math,
yes.
you change one letter in the word math,
I
it means a
know.
different word.
Yes.
So when you said it's not like a mathematic-induced dream, would imply that you're also referring to math again, which we were not. But
No, because you asked me if I had any related stories.
yeah, to substances.
Yes, and I said no, but then I segued with a fever dream
Right.
that could
Like yeah,
come from sex.
something happened
that seemed like it could have been
induced by
yes.
substances, not math. There's a difference. We don't know. Anyways.
We're not under any subjects. I'm just using it as that. I am using
Fair.
it as that.
Fair.
Like, what? We're not in the same sync right now.
No, we're not. We're really off.
Different wavelengths, and I can tell, and he can tell, and I'm just like, you don't understand.
Ow.
Was that really painful?
Protect me.
I thought I just did. It was a light tap.
It was a gentle tap.
Why are you saying ow? So dramatic.
So dramatic.
Just like the cat.
Yeah, Etsy.
Yes. So I was talking about how witnessing one story and listening to the other just felt like witnessing a fever dream, but you're awake. And that's what I was getting at before this nut interrupted me. So, with straddling this patient, or the straddling patient story, Oscar, I'll call him Oscar. I was trying to figure out what name to replace that with, so that's why I'm like, But Oscar's like this really chill, cool uncle type of figure, like the one that has all the crazy stories and, is somehow alive, but it's such a cool guy to listen to. Like that cool uncle that has a bike and all that, and like so many cool stories from their background that you're just like, oh my god, how am I related to this legend? And that's who Oscar is. Like, one of the crazy stories about Oscar is that when he went to the Middle East, I'm not saying where, he spoke the language. Like, he's bilingual. Maybe try. And with that, he was, traveling overseas, and he didn't pay attention to his surroundings. So when he took a bus, he didn't know which bus he took. And that bus happened to take him to a more dangerous area, if you will. And, he knew he was screwed, but instead of just, sitting there and accepting his fate, he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna make the best out of a horrible situation and go where the food is. Turns out, in that really, really dangerous part of town, makes great food. And he did get home safely. Oscar made it. But I'm just like, dang. And when Oscar told us this, he's like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but they have the best food. If you're willing to travel to a non-peaceful environment, yeah. And I'm like, dang, only you can do that and still live and tell the tale. What a nut. But yeah, so I'm just painting the picture of this really cool dude who's seen some things in his life, who's not in the military, but, seen some things. And with that, in the hospital, when your heart doesn't work, you get on the transplant list, and for many people, the transplant list is way too long to wait, and they have to give you a quick and, temporary solution, which is a medical heart that will do all the heart's work for you, so that way your body doesn't, decondition while you wait for the new heart to come in. And with that, a heart patient was having issues, and they coded, and the hospital had to give them that machine heart. And thing is, with this machine heart, there's so many tubes and gadgets that are, connected to the patient, so it takes a lot of real estate. And I say this because this patient still needs to go to the imaging room just to make sure that everything's attached to where it needs to be and all that stuff, which requires a ride to the elevator that was too small to fit anything else outside the IV pole and the patient bed. So I say this because, one, this patient is hooked up to so many tubes and gadgets. So like I said, he's like surrounded by a bush of, machines. And then two, he needs that heart. He needs something to act like a heart right now. So, because the elevator was way too small for its own good for this instance, they had to disconnect him from the tubes and gadgets that were acting at his heart. But because he needs something to act like his heart, and nothing's acting like his heart right now, especially not his own heart, someone had to do CPR. And when you're in a crowded elevator and there's no room, there's nowhere else to do CPR at but on top of the patient. So my friend Oscar had to straddle a patient, an unconscious patient at that, and do CPR on them on the ride to the imaging room on a small elevator. It was a scene to watch, to be sure, at around like midnight, because of course it's at night. Gotta love those night shifts.
Didn't you say you got peed on?
Oh, no. No, the one that got peed on was... I'm trying to think of a name.
You don't have to say a name. It's just say it wasn't. That was a different story.
Well, yes, but I like saying names or name places just for my brain to continue with the story, because then I lose the nut.
Well,
For me.
Well, yeah, that's fine. But I thought it was the same story.
No, it's a different story. It was, long story short, I'll call him Greg. Yes, Greg. I like the name Greg, because I can't even remember his real name, but I know it's not Greg. I am not a principal, and I just want to make sure that I don't accidentally, identify someone, even if it is unintentional. So since I know it's not Greg, I'm going to use Greg. So, Greg. Greg is this, he's lanky, average height, 5'7", I believe. And, just, one of those super chill bros, right? Kind of just a chill bro. And with that, Greg was working in the ICU, which, intense care unit and all that. And one of the patients had a code. And when you're in the ICU, obviously that's escalated care and all that stuff. And this patient was intubated, not breathing, having the machine breathe for him, and machined up, IV pull, all that good stuff. And, that also includes a catheter. And, when you're in a code, a lot of things get moved, a lot of things get not misplaced per se, but just not kind of pushed away, because, the main thing is the patient's airway, and you want to make sure that, the airway stays good while you're working on everything else. Because, oxygen goes to the brain, and the brain's the most important organ in the body, all that good stuff. And, because things get moved around a lot during a code, things can get, accidentally moved out of place, just like this catheter. And one can imagine when someone's doing CPR, the body's getting pushed every which way and all that stuff for, however many consecutive counts, 60. And yeah, so it's like one of those slow-mo cartoons where the catheter, flies out, and then because the catheter was absorbing pee and all, that good stuff from the kidneys, well, just pee really, that comes out, so pee comes flying, and my coworker's mouth, Greg's poor mouth, was just at that right angle just to be into, kind of like a parent and a parent and their boy, and then they just have to watch for the hose. So very much reminiscence of that kind of moment. But poor Greg, a stranger, and yeah, during a very messy, convoluted, overstimulating time, like a code. Yeah. fever dream, to be sure.
And it's wild that some people would actually pay for stuff like that.
Now that's when you know subjects are involved.
Funny.
Anyways,
Let's see.
so that was my segue into bodily fluids because I had a few. If you know want me to list them off while you think of something related. Okay. So, as one may assume, in a hospital environment, you see genitals, body parts, and all that stuff a lot. And a thing that people don't realize about me or know about me is that I am grossed out by the human body. Like, in order for me to get used to nipples, I had to think of them as poker chips and just like dissociate and pretend I'm not witnessing this. So, it took me a while to get desensitized to nipples and everything else on the body because I saw it. I saw a lot of it. And, with that, we also saw things that can come out of the body. So, you get desensitized to a whole lot of things when you work there. And, you know, I bring this up because one of my best squirrels, my beautiful, beautiful squirrel, Lee. So, Lee is one of my closest friends, and I love Lee so much. But Lee and I truly attract the most interesting luck. And she also works in a healthcare setting. She helps in an not assisted living, but basically she helps geriatric patients that have some kind of not complications, but disability. So whether it's mental disability, physical disability, that's where her work comes in. So she deals with a lot of, things that come out of the body and all of the in between as a care. And this one person, or rather, many years ago, Reddit had this beautiful story about a person visiting their friend's house and discovering that not all houses share the same bathroom etiquette. So, when he went to the bathroom at his friend's place for the first time, he noticed a knife just sitting there next to the toilet, and he's super confused as to what this knife is for, because wouldn't you be? And, eventually, he comes to learn that that is a poop knife. And of course, that implies everything the name says. And that story, circulated Reddit and, became quite anonymous, or infamous rather. And my beautiful Lee had the poop story from work. And a little bit of an educational moment for people. Hydration is very important. And as someone who doesn't like to drink water or drink many things in general, that habit is just really bad for you and can lead to so many bad things. Low blood pressure and constipation. And this patient sorry, I'm looking at random animals. I'm like, Leo, like the lion. So we'll call him Leo. So Leo hasn't been eating a whole lot, and because his eating schedule is very irregular, so are his bowel schedules. And there are times where they'll try to help him to the bathroom, but nothing comes out, nothing's there. Well, Leo was with another caretaker this time, Allie. I'm looking at an allergy pill. So Allie was taking care of Leo. Like she was a part of the bunch that, you know, her bunch of patients that she interacted with that day. And Allie, was taking care of Leo, and Allie and Leo, like Allie took Leo to the bathroom, did all that stuff, and then Allie came into a problem because unlike the other times where Leo didn't go to the bathroom, this time it felt like he was making up for it. So, somehow, some way, a size 9 shoe, tall poop log, excreted out of this man. And because this man was dehydrated, it was so dry to the point where, it clogged the toilet. The toilet stood no choice. And, Allie's like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go call help, which is where Lee comes in. And Allie's like, Lee, I will give you money or pay for your food if you help me with this situation. And, food is involved, money is involved, let's do it. So Lee double gloves because. And she takes this plastic knife. I assume it's plastic. God, I hope it's plastic. And, proceeds to, open up the poop log. So this is what I found interesting and how different our minds work. If I was, faced with that task, that really ridiculous fever-induced dream type of task that no one would believe unless you're in the room with them task. So if I were in that type of situation, I would have coined it, like just cut it into coins and all that stuff. And, that's what I would have done because I figured that, if you give it more surface area, like it will have it won't clog the toilet as much because it's not in one clump. I don't know. That was my idea. What? The next step, flush the toilet. But no. Lee, my beautiful Lee. She decides to cut the thing in half horizontally. Horizontally. So like a Subway, right? So now you have like two bread size poop logs instead of one, right? One sausage. And so she tries to flush it that way, and of course it doesn't. So then she tries the other, or rather, so she halves it again. So now it's in 4 pieces. So it's kind of like a cross-sectional half. And, so now you have 4 pieces, and it finally went through. And, a 20 is a 20, but dang, I don't know if it's worth that. So, another, so Lee takes care of her own patients. And then Lee had a situation because a patient needed to go number 2. And somehow, number 2 produced a log that's bigger than a size 9 shoe. And, because of the fact that her patient is on liquid diet, unfortunately, that also means a sticky log. And Lee was just like, this is the worst thing. this is worse than the poop lock or poop knife. But this time, Lee didn't have a knife. So Lee had to make a choice because this patient requires someone to keep an eye on him at all times. Because, yes. So Lee can't really, ask for help. Like, she can't get out of the bathroom to ask for help. She can't get out of the stall because he's still there. And, there's not much Lee can do. And Lee sure as wasn't going to try to rip the poop knife or the poop into so many pieces with her gloved hands, because she wasn't doing that. So she decided the best way to handle the situation was to pick up the log and throw both the log and her gloves into the trash can. Because what else can one do in that type of scenario? And I remember my squirrel-in-law and I were talking, and we both collectively went, yep, we're so glad we don't have Lee's job.
Very valid. Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to be bribed with food after something like that.
What?
I don't think I'd be able to be bribed by food after doing something like that.
Yeah, no, that's
Like, I don't think I'd have an appetite. Especially when you described it as a sub. It's like, no, no,
It's
no.
the only shape I can think of because, if you cut a sausage in half, it does look like bread in a Subway.
Yeah.
So that was the only shape I can think of because I couldn't remember what the shape was called. No, it's like a half circle, but or a smiley. The D-looking shape.
Got
Anyways.
it. Yeah, I don't think I have any gross stories per se, but I definitely have some weird ones.
Okay.
And ones that have happened to me personally, and I'm trying to think of one. There's like several. Again, this is just like the injury situation, where there's so many things that have happened to me at work that also involve injuries.
And that's fine.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. I don't know why I keep bringing this up. We talked about this in the car. A few of them we talked about in the car a couple days ago because we were discussing determining what would be a good topic to talk about. And I think maybe that's the reason why I'm drawing a blank is because I've recently already told these stories and I'm like, it feels weird if I repeat them because it's like, didn't I already say this? Like I've told you this already before, but I got to remember this is for people that are listening, not just you. We talked about my aunt at one of my first jobs, going after a teenager. Now, okay. Okay, so let's specify by saying first up and up front 100%, they are not the Karen type. So that changes the story completely now. Like, oh yeah, there's an aunt, an older lady goes after a teenager that's working. That sounds like a Karen thing. Like, no, like this by far is not like being a Karen. This is more like a mama bear kind of thing. So I had a cousin that was visiting from out of town, and I think there was like a exchange. They stayed here for a while, went to our school, and then graduated and moved on. But my cousin is not the daughter of this aunt, if that makes sense. This my cousin that is, I mean, the same side of the family, so my mother has two sisters. I actually had to think about it because on my dad's side, he has multiple sisters, more than two. So that's why I get confused. But at any rate, my mom has two sisters that are all intents and purposes in this story or about the story. So her two sisters have children, my cousins. That's how family trees work. Yay. So my cousin from somewhere else is coming and staying with us, and we at the time, me and my other cousin, her cousin, we're all cousins, not brother sister, or brother, but that doesn't make any sense. But at any rate, we'll say cousin A is from out of state, and cousin B is the one that lives here and is the son of the not Karen. So we all work, or me and that cousin work at a place called Vanna's Pumpkin Land. Now, I started working there when I was like 16, my freshman year, right? 16 freshman?
Sophomore.
No, that's. Yeah, no.
You're thinking junior, senior, but it was sophomore.
16?
Sophomore is 16.
But I turned 16 before sophomore year.
Yes. No, because you said that you
I was
were-
born in September.
I know, but please let me finish. You said that you were 18 when you were a senior.
Mm-hmm.
So 18 minus 2 is 6. 2 grades down from a senior is a junior. So thus, if you were 18 as a senior, you have to be 16 as a sophomore.
Okay, so sophomore year, I was 16, and we've been working this job for a while. So this isn't nothing new. It's a seasonal, obviously pumpkin patch related work, but it was like one of those fall time comes around and there's like these farms that have like, oh, corn maze, oh, you can pick a pumpkin. Like they're just called pumpkin patches, but they're also like not an event. What's the word I'm looking for? Amusement park or whatever. So I worked at one of those for a seasonal job. Cousin B, not Karen's son, also works there, and the cousin A that's visiting from out of this town, out of this state, was like, hey, I'll also work there. So we all got a job. Great time. It was fun. Now at our school, one of the senior pranks, which I think was both cousins A and B were seniors at the time. And that means I was a junior. Yes, there you go. That tracks. Got it. Locked down, y'all. Anyways, it was their graduating year, and the seniors of that class decided for their senior prank, they were going to stage a food fight. Now, as far as I know, as long as I've ever been in this school, there's never been a food fight. Like as far back, and I'm talking about outside of the years that I was at that school, but all the way back throughout all the history, no one's ever mentioned of a food fight. So it was new. Ouch. So they thought it would be really funny. The lunch ladies were in on this. So the lunch ladies apparently knew that the kids were going to do this, so they supplied extra mashed potatoes that day. For those of you that don't know about this school, their mashed potatoes and their French fries were the only good things outside of, I think, the pizza. But other than that, it was just not good. So they knew kids were going to be buying like extra of these. And the teachers also knew that this was going to happen. Because we talked about it so much, they knew that this school prank was going to happen. and they go get all the other teachers around the school, like around the cafeteria. They're like, okay, it's about to go down. Me, my cousin, my other cousin, and a couple other friends are just sitting there, just kind of like minding our own business. We didn't know this was going to happen. Even though he was a senior and she was a senior, they actually didn't know because they were going to take a part of it. They're like, no, I don't want to do something stupid that's risky. Moving on. Someone jumps up and shouts, "Food fight!" And then it's just volleys of mashed potatoes left and right, French fries being thrown left and right, cartons of milk opened up, throwing everywhere, up and down, high and low. I myself turn and look and see the perfect volley heading straight towards my face of mashed potatoes, and I just slightly lean back. Completely misses me. Hits the table. Hits everyone across from me at that table. My cousin. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I had no food on me. I was like, sweet. I'm awesome. I dodged everything. But at any rate, my cousin, the cousin A, didn't sit with us. They went and sat with the other popular girls or whatever they sat. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. But apparently she got hit by a full milk carton, and it apparently it hurt because obviously it's a carton of milk. Like it carton, painful, pointy, and sharp. Mashed potatoes, I could take my chances. It's gooey. Even fries, that there's little like mass there to actually inflict any kind of damage. But a carton of milk will hurt. So cousin A found out who threw it. Cousin B and me found out who threw it. It was not an attack. It was not targeted to be her. He just threw it, and it happened to connect to her. That's usually how food fights go. It's just, they just volley things, unless you're an absolute animal and you sadistically target people. You know, like the weaker ones. But at any rate, my aunt finds out, cousin B's mom, the not Karen, finds out who threw it. Now, my cousin's mom, not Karen, is a sweetheart. She is incredible. If there's anybody in my family that I want to back me up that is not like my mother or my wife, would be Aunt Karen. Like, she is the one that will not only root for you, but will jump in and scrap with you. She's like that type of Karen. For those of you that know Rugrats, I've always pictured my aunt as, I almost said Angela, but that's not the lady's name. What's her name from Rugrats?
The aunt?
Yeah.
The one that everyone's like, you released?
Phil and Lil's mom.
Yeah. It's not Dee Dee, because Dee Dee is Pickles' mom.
But you guys know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Phil and Lil. Sorry, I hit my mic again. Phil and Lil's mom.
Yes.
That's the vibe, is like the woman power, you know, like stand up for yourself. Like a key idol to me and my cousins growing up as a feminist. Like that is it. Awesome human being.
Yes.
But if you hurt one of her children, or if you hurt someone that she's caring for, i.e. cousin A, she was not afraid to throw hands.
Those are swinging.
I love my aunt for that. She's so awesome.
Yes.
But she found out this guy works at Vanna's Pumpkin Land with us. And so my aunt drives us to work and sees who she thinks we're talking about. And cousin A goes, hey, yeah, that's the guy that threw the milk. And before Cousin A got to finish her sentence, my aunt was already out of the door, beelines power walking straight towards him. Oh, God, it was so great.
I love the imagery.
And she just grabs him and she's like, did you throw milk at my niece? And he's just like, what is happening? Who is this lady?
That poor baby deer stood 0 chance.
But he was like, damn, like mortified. And he's not a little guy either. He's like one of those country fed, farm boys. He's, used to farm work and manual labor. But my money's on my aunt. Like if a scrap happened, my money's on her. Let's say she's trained to take certain people down. That's all I need to say. It could be that's a lot of different jobs.
Yes,
But I
she
digress.
gets paid to manhandle.
But she knows what she's doing when it comes to a restraint.
Mm-hmm.
So again, my money's on her.
1,000,000% on her.
But she's snapping and she's yelling at him, asking, did you throw milk at my niece? And honestly, I already know what's going through his head is like, probably, because there was a food fight. He doesn't know who he hit. And so she grabbed him by the scuff of his jacket, or like the collar of his jacket, and dragged him and forced him to apologize to her. And that was one of the most genuine apologies I've ever heard come from a human being. Like, it was just like you hear like, hey, I'm sorry I hit you with the milk. Like, you can tell in a tone when they're not sorry. This guy was just like pleading for his life.
Save me from this crazy white Karen.
Like, it's not she's like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could see her as a Karen, but
Crazy.
But if that was an actual Karen where they actually like support their family, then yes, I would rather Karens be like that.
Yeah, because a lot of times that we see those Karen archetypes do tend to be self-serving. It
Yeah.
doesn't really, like, they will put it in the front and say that this is for my family, this is for, yada yada yada. But let's be honest, there's no altruism, there's no selflessness being done. It's just more so for themselves and, seeing what they can get away with, because no is not a part of their vocabulary.
It's called privilege.
It's true. It's that privilege. But yeah, no, I love your aunt. Like, I think in terms of like first introductions and everything else like that, like, she was one of those people that greatly amused me, and like I was at all at her spice,
Oh yeah.
because before I met you, I was such a spineless little thing. No bones to be had. I was very spineless. I was,
You were squishy, but not spineless.
It was pretty spineless. Like, if the spines were there, they were very malleable. And yeah, actually, I would love. Anyway, so with that, like, I adored people who were spicier than I was, because I was brought up not to show spice. And with that, I really admired, his aunt, if you will. And the first thing that his aunt told me when we first met was, if a guy ever tries to attack you, they talk to you the wrong way, if they approach you the wrong way, this is what you do. And mind you, this is my first interaction with her after hi. Like, this is the very first thing his beautiful aunt wanted me to know. And that was, kick them gonads. If anything, stomp them gonads. No matter what, they try to choke you, stomp. They try to say something, stop. And I'm just like, I'm processing this thing because I'm just like, so I'm in a situation where we're not even in a relationship status yet. At least I don't think so during this point. And this is my very first introduction to you, or to his aunt. And, you know, instead of being like, if you do anything to hurt my nephew, you know, or anything like that, it's remember, honey, gonads. And I'm just like, you know what? I respect this. I respect her so much because that is true girl's girl.
Yeah. Again, love my aunt.
I love.
And I remember that I got up to get some water, and as I heard you saying, yeah, I remember my first interaction with your aunt, and I was like, what was your first interaction? I remember it, but I don't remember like certain details. And then when you said like, yeah, she taught me one thing, I'm like, oh my God, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. God, it was kick him in the crotch, grab him and knee. Like, they keep kneeing until they go down.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Keep kneeing and keep hitting the gonads.
Oh God, it's God. So funny.
I loved it. Like I said, I'm the new girlfriend that they know nothing about.
Yep.
And the first thing this beautiful, beautiful creature tells me, knee 'em in the nuts.
Just knee him.
Like,
Oh.
you can't get more girl's girl than that. And I preach her for it. Love that woman.
Oh yeah. Both of them are great. My mom and my aunt. All three of my aunts are great.
No, I agree. You have a very wonderful family. Your mom, your aunt, your grandmother did great, and I love her
Yeah.
for it. I know that if we would have met, we would have been great friends.
Yeah, I wish you got to meet my grandma. She
There's
was
always that next
she was
one.
one of those also like the feminist you want to hear about.
Yes.
Like was it the Ruby Riveter or something?
Yes,
Like my
yes.
grandmother was a big part of that movement too, and I'm like, she worked on train cars, people. Like train engines, like the actual like locomotives and stuff. She was a welder for them. Like she would repair all that stuff, and like hearing that as a kid, I'm like, man, again, you guys might be thinking of like this like big burly, like strong like bull kind of. No, my grandma wasn't. She was like 5 feet tall, like maybe 100 pounds. She was a tiny person. And she did it. She crushed that job. Again, that's workplace shenanigans.
Yes.
Yay. I gotta talk about my grandma. I love talking about my grandma.
Yes. No, I love listening about your grandma.
But yeah, she was one of those no nonsense people. And the position my mom and the not Karen aunt, my other aunt is also not a Karen, but still,
Not my Karen.
neither one of them are Karens. But my mom and the aunt that lives here, and that makes more sense, work in the same place. My grandmother also worked there when she was around, and like, oh my God, it's I don't know, I can't really say too much more about it, but it's just the fact that there's 2 generations of the same family that work there, and me and my cousin wanted to get a job there, so we applied to it, and we were really like, yeah, we can be like 3 generations of this family working here. I thought it would be it's emotionally, like, it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Financially, it would have been a terrible decision. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm
Mom
sorry,
wasn't.
Aunt, but you know, and you know.
We're not sorry. Do better, government.
Oh, I know, but it's also just like, I'm sad I didn't get to work there,
Yeah.
but I'm also happy that I didn't get to work there because the drama that surrounds it and the pay, they need to be paid more for what they do, but
They deserve so much better.
But my grandmother did get a building named after her
Yeah.
once when she passed, and they I thought it was really cool. That's like a really awesome legacy that my grandma left behind, other than the whole movement of women in the was it the industry or factory style industry or like manual labor stuff. Yeah, flex.
Yes.
But yeah, I was like, I'm so proud.
Yes.
So I'm proud I'm part of that legacy too.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
You come from good blood.
Yeah, blood, lots of it. But yeah, no, that's I guess that's my little bit of pride in the workplace of just like knowing that I'm a part of my family was a part of like a really big movement is was pretty sick. I like that.
But no, I agree. As you know, I'm very, let's see, taking pride in one's work has been a deep-rooted part of both our families. Like, I would get teary-eyed if I talked. Oh, I am getting teary-eyed, so I'm still gonna keep talking. So, speaking of grandmother's work and, just family values, or just good values, really. A long, long time ago, my wonderful grandmother, she used to own a glue farm, or glue factory, if you will. And with that, her, for whatever reason, this one police officer decided that he didn't like her, so he was going to sabotage her business. And he did so many things. Like, he did way too much. Like, bothering them with citations and just trying to get them at everything that he possibly could. For no good reason. Like, my grandmother didn't do jack. So, it was one of those really, really sucky situations. And my dad and his siblings were like, F this. Because honestly, F all that. And they decide, you know what? If this individual can get away with all that BS, I'm gonna make sure they can't ever do that ever again to someone else, because no. So, my family, decides that they're going to be the law, which I love. I love that, rise as a phoenix story that my family has, because no. And, so they went into politics, and, they became, they did everything to make sure that mama and their city is safe. So, I thought that was, like, work-wise, I'm just like, from a bad, because, a policeman, trying to cite you while for doing your job, that is workplace harassment. Like, that's just harassment, but still technically related to work. And, deciding to change about it, like, I love my family for that. So that's how that all ties in, and how great my family is. I love you, Grandma.
Yeah, didn't she also I forgot what else she did. She did something else too that was really awesome. Work related. Or was it like a pageant thing or not a pageant thing?
Because, like,
Again, there's a lot.
there's so much,
Yeah.
but, like, I can't remember specifically. I can't remember work right now. I remember a story about her taking on stairs.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
that's why, because, so, between this and I, like, we use stairs a lot, especially when we ramble on about work and how we want to throw things down said stairs, and maybe some other times other woodland creatures. So that's probably where that came from.
I think so, yeah.
It's so heavily rooted in our brains with work. So my grandmother, bless her, she lived to be 103. I love her so much. And she has always been a strong cookie, metaphorically and physically. And, you know, you would think when someone's 90 something years old, I believe she was 96 or 95 in this story, like, you're thinking fragile, wheelchair bound, very old elderly lady, right? Like the grandmother from Coco. Grandma Coco!
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
I was like, wait.
Grandma
So,
Go-Go?
yeah, Grandma Coco. So, like that. But no, my grandmother she was still kicking. The memory a little iffy, but who's not
Oof.
iffy at 90? Like, come on, be real. And, like, the house that they live in I believe it was Brackenshire, I want to say, a city in a different country that it's in here. Anyways, so my grandmother, slipped down the stairs, and at 96, you would think that would be a sentence to the not here zone. You get it.
Yeah.
And, like, no, she was fine. Like, she was still moving. She's still there. Still kicking. Like I said, she was 95, 96. She lived to be 103. Those stairs meant nothing.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely did something with that water.
Something. Oh.
I'ma take a sip.
Yeah, let's see, what else? Workplace. I have a few workplace accidents and embarrassing, not to me. I'm trying to think of one. Which one which one do you think? Something embarrassing or like an injury related? Or
What?
wronged, someone that was wronged at their job. Like, how dare you?
It's a tea? Spicy?
It can be. I was thinking more or less like the continuation of the cart pusher story
Okay.
about how they wronged me for the demotion.
Was it with the frog?
No, that was the X thing
Oh.
with the frogs. That did grind my. A lot happened at this job, particularly the cart retriever position. That is there's a lot behind that. Okay, that they're how they were wrong. Like, when you really see like the company for what it is, other than just like, oh, this is just where I get job. It's pretty laid back. They're pretty chill. And then you can see like the corporate side of it and how dark it can actually be. So as a cart carrier, cart retriever, I don't know why I keep saying carrier, cart retriever, cart kid, whatever. I used to be the assembler, so I'd build stuff and like the furniture, the bookshelves, chairs, the tables, the things that you see on the display, or bicycles. And if you were a customer and you wanted it purchased, the bookshelf, but you want it to be completed for you, that was my job. You probably could tell there's probably not that much happening. Since Amazon rolled around, that's kind of stopped because everyone just builds it themselves too. So it was kind of a weird position, but they still needed bikes to be assembled. The pre-built bikes are like one of the must top things you need to do. I digress. It was a good paying job. Like, it paid good. One of the supervisors, he's like one of the top ones, like co-manager of the store. Not of the store, but of the store. He brought me into his office alone, which you're not supposed to do. Again, didn't know that was a thing. And then he goes, "Hey, we've noticed that I'm doing this job getting paid this much money. Like, it wasn't $10, but I'm just gonna say $10. You can keep doing that job, but we have to cut your hours back so you won't be full time anymore. Or you switch over, you take you just go under the pay grade, so you go to a lesser job. You'll get more hours, but you'll get less pay. But with more hours, you'll be able to make more than what you would on, part time. And so I was like, well, that logic makes sense. I was young and stupid. I was like, well, that makes sense. I don't want to be, like my hours come. I didn't realize that is illegal. He cannot do that to me. I have to willfully do it. So I was like, again, I did literally this second right now that we are talking, I just realized legally he could not have ever have done that. I just now realized this.
The things people get away with when the others do not know the law.
Yeah. So he was like the nephew of the like corporate person. So he got away with a lot of stuff. A lot of dirty stuff. And yeah, I ended up taking him on that offer and being a cart pusher. And they said, hey, when the holidays roll around, because people are buying bikes for Christmas and stuff, we'll get you back onto the thing. So we'll promote you back to your old position once business starts picking up. That was a lie. That I knew was a lie. Like a few months after working that position, he knew I had a ding on my timing in, timing out. Like, what is it, like your record or whatever it is? So he goes, no, well, it's for my time card, but it's like the record, like your career, you got 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing.
Okay.
But this is like you have 5 and you're out. Because it's like, first you get a verbal warning, then you get a write-up, which doesn't really mean anything, and then you get a write-up, and then you get sent home. And then if you screw up again, they walk you out. So I guess it was like 4 strikes and you're out. I think it may have changed.
Yeah.
But if you get one of those, so if I get an actual verbal on in the system, it automatically, you can no longer promote to a new position until that's gone.
That's so
Yeah.
horrible.
Yes. So he knew this, and he still told me to do that because it'll benefit me. It was a lie. It just they just needed people to go out there, and he would look like a really good manager if he showed our profits increased and spending decreased by getting rid of someone that was at a higher position. So it was very conniving, and I'm just like, man, you like looking back at this now, he was an evil guy, like corporate evil.
Yeah.
And
Cartoonishly.
yeah, like my dad owns a dealership kind of mentality.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so he did that to me. I got stuck in that position because the reason why I got written up, the reason why I got a write up, is I clocked back in too early.
But you were working.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So legally, you're supposed to take a 30-minute lunch or more. But I didn't know that. So I'm just like, I would sit there, I'd eat my lunch, 30 minutes go by, and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know, like, I have to take either a 30 or a 60-minute break. So I only took a 30-minute break and then went right back to work. Because I was like, that's too much time. That's too much time for me is to, just sit there and do nothing and not get paid.
Yeah.
So I wanted money now. That's the mentality my brother has. So I go back into work and they're like, yeah, you can't do that unless you get, a conversation with the manager.
Yeah.
So it's a write-up. And then once you accrue one, they stack so quickly because you're already on their radar.
Yeah.
So they'll fine you for specifically the 2 people that I ended up being under, the CSR manager.
CSM.
Yeah, well, they're customer service manager, so CSM, but we just call them CSRs.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But
Oh,
she was a manager of it.
Mm-hmm.
Another horrible human being, like Matilda, the lady from Matilda level. Yeah, like she's
Yucky yuck.
ugh. If she saw you screwing around, it was a write-up.
No, not
Screwing around would be talking to a customer when they're asking you a question.
so doing your job.
One of your coworkers coming up and say, "Hey, do you want me to cover for you when you go on your break?" That's screwing around. Talking to anybody. Your job is to get carts, bring them at. Get carts, bring them back. Someone has something heavy to lift and put in their car. You come the moment I say, cart retriever. They had a specific name for it, but I can't remember it. But yeah, they were like,
Fetch.
it was brutal. Like,
That's degrading.
it really was. So I was really good at my job. And I found certain ways to do the job more efficiently. Apparently they didn't like that, so it was a write-up. And again, I'm not breaking any rules. There's no rules saying like, hey, you know, don't climb over the cart corral. Which is just like me stepping over it because my legs are longer than the height of the corral, so it was easier just to hop over instead of walking all the way around. I was being more efficient. I was not causing any harm. I wasn't doing parkour backflips or anything. But apparently one of the other CSMs saw it and told this other lady, the like, he's like the little, oh, best example, the kid show Recess.
Oh.
The recess teacher lady
Yeah.
and her little crony, the
minion.
tattletale,
Yeah.
that was these two CSMs. He is at the equivalent authority as she is, but he does not think so. He thinks he is lesser than her, and I'm like, that is not cool.
That's very yucky.
It was. So he apparently saw that I was like jumping over carts and stuff and doing pull-ups, which I'm like, where do you get pull-ups from? And jumping over, and I explained to them what I was doing, and they're like, yeah, that you can't do that. Do the job the way we showed you how to do your job. And I'm like, you do realize it is July, and I am the only person out there. Like, this is 4th of July weekend. And they're telling me, oh, the cart machine, the little pusher, doesn't work. So I'm manually pushing carts by myself during the weekend before 4th of July. Do you know how busy it was? It was insane. And I'm like, you want me to go slower at my job, and I find a more efficient way, you yell at me and I get written up for it. Okay. That's my introduction of like the workplace, is like
Yeah.
how dark it can be, or how corrupt it can be at the same time. And it's just nasty stuff.
Yeah. Kind of like one of those. You're just a part of the machine, disposable even.
Yeah, just another wheel.
Yeah. Because I realized that, so I am very much the type of person that does not get hot and bothered when someone calls me by the wrong name.
Yeah.
Like, my mom, for this case and purpose, had 2 kids, so it's me and sibling. And, the amount of times I got called by my sibling's name, like, honestly, who dat?
Yeah.
Like, I would be called that, this, the, like, anything at this point, right? And, this happened at work, especially in my hospital gig, all the time. And the first one I can easily forgive and forget because I couldn't care, and I still don't care, but I thought it was funny. So, it's just at the start of my shift, I I like to, I'm a very detail orientated person. So I like to go to all the rooms, make sure everyone knows who's on call, or rather you know, who's on staff today. So as I'm writing my name in clear lettering, because my handwriting is neat for the most part. So D-A-T. That nut is working tonight. And I just finished writing my name in the assigned slot, and this young, fresh-faced doctor came up and calls me. Not that. No, 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 no. Let's go with a name like Lexi. Very different from that. And because I got so desensitized to being called by the wrong name, I'm just like, Lexi it is. Sup, doc? And, mind you, like I said, I had just gotten done writing my name on the whiteboard that's in front of me visually for all to know who's on staff. Right after I got done writing the last letter, this person calls me a different name.
Lexi.
Completely left field. So, like I said, I really didn't care. And, the 12-hour shift goes by, and with that, at the end of the night, my, the other person that was working the room, called me and was like, hey, Nut, thank you for, or rather, hey, that, thank you for, blah, 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 blah during the shift. And the doctor had the absolute cojones to look at me offended and go, who's that? And I'm like, I'm that. And he's like, I thought you were Lexi. And I'm like, no, I'm that. But I've been responding to Lexi because I don't care. Good night.
It's wild.
Yeah, so that's the nice version of, kind of like feeling like they don't care to know your name, part of the machine type of thing. Another work incident that, helped me quickly get desensitized to being called by any which name at any which time was a coworker.
Well,
Yes, so this coworker whom I have been co-working with for I think 2 years at this point. I don't care. I'm very bad with time. I drop the time more than I drop the nut, which is saying something.
which place is this? Is this the office or is this
It
the
is hospital.
hospital? Okay.
Yeah, no. Office is well beyond name carrying, number in the machine kind of thing. This is why I'm so tolerant at the office. So, this one was with a coworker. And I'm just gonna go with brie, because I do love the cheese, and cheddar. So, brie. I love brie. I love me some brie. She is a hard-working cookie. Love her to tears. She is so smart. She wanted to use, the hospital work as a stepping stone, and she had a plan A to plan C all written out, and a girl's power boss, and I loved her for it. And I loved her. She she is so authentically her, and I love that for her. She's so caring of others, she's so mindful, and she's such a good sport about so many things. She has a kid now, and I know that kid is so well loved. And, like I said, I love Brie. And, but I say this because even though Brie is an amazing person, Brie and I are two very different people. We have different colors. Like, We're about the same height, to be fair, but that's it. Our names are very different. We're very different beings. We don't even look alike. We just have the same height, and we ain't white. That's it. So, love her. Cheddar, on the other hand, I don't like Cheddar. Cheddar is one of those really, old school crabby pants that, is so ready for retirement. You can't tell them nothing. Their way's the only way. Like those type of bullying cheddars, right? Like sharp cheddar, if you will. Actually, that was a really funny analogy now that I think about it. Unintentional, but clever. Good me. Anyways, what are you doing?
Don't worry about it.
I got distracted.
Yeah.
Anyways, so sharp cheddar. We don't like sharp cheddar in this house. Like, so sharp cheddar.
That's not
is,
true. I actually I like that cheese.
I do too.
Okay.
But for this scenario that I'm using as metaphors and all that stuff, I don't like it. Okay.
Fair, but we don't discriminate against cheese, even though lactose intolerance is.
Sorry.
So cheddar. Let me think about cheddar. We don't like cheddar. Cheddar's a lot, and she's really, really nitpicky because even though there's so many floors and all that stuff, cheddar is the only one who gets floor 14 when cheddar's working. No one else can have floor 14, only cheddar when she's working. So whenever cheddar's working, it's floor 14. No ands, ifs, buts, or coconuts. And, I never worked for 14 before. Like, never had to. I was just more assigned towards the 7 and under. So when she asked me about floor 14 and looked at me like, what's good? I'm just like, wait, but I was in the basement. Like, what do you mean? Why are you bullying me right now? And she was just like, no, this is your name. Right here. You worked last night. And I'm like, my name's not Bree though. And she's just like, no, you're Bree. And I'm like, but I'm that. And like, she would not believe me that that's not my name, and then kept insisting that, I worked last night. And, at some point, she turned to someone and was like, no, I already said cheddar. Gouda. Like, Gouda, who's that? That? Hi, I'm that. Like, honestly, it was ridiculous. And when someone else had to confirm that I'm that and not Bree, I was just like mentally, like, how can you come back from that? Like, you couldn't even convince someone else whom you worked with for quite some time that you're you and that you didn't work the night before because you weren't scheduled for the night before because Bree was.
Yeah, that's how are you not embarrassed?
Like, mentally, I never came back from I not caring that people don't know my name, because if I have to argue with someone to convince them that my name is my name and still lost that argument, no, caring is not in the cards. So I say that because I got robbed once with that. And this is more recent. Oh, that's okay, honey. I'm fine. This is more recent than the other ones. This is an office space. And remember, when I was in the hospital space, I got called so many names, even right after writing it down. So in this office space that I'm, working at, I have zero cares from what I'm called, from hey you to Andy in the first, letter of the alphabet to Zoe in the last letter. Like A to C, do not care. If you're looking at me, I'm assuming you're talking to me. Like that's the point. And emails go the same way. Like, so my name, D-A-T, that. So it's 3 letters, right? My first name is 3 letters. And one would think, because it's only 3 letters long, it's written clearly in the email, and and even in the signature spot, multiple places for my name to be seen by the person receiving it. That. I get called Dab, Dot, D, Day, Sir, which, like, there's a lot of sirs going on. Like, thank you, Sir Nut, Mr. Nut. So, I'm just like, that's fine. That's fine. Like, that nut is in a I don't care era. But, mentally thinking about, not being a cog in the machine and all that, that doesn't help. That no one, that many people just said, yeah, I know it's 3 letters, but as long as the first letter is correct, we're good, right? So I'm like, oh, fine, whatever, don't care. But, the one time that I did care, and yes, it's for the wrong reasons. So, I'm a female in the workplace, it is what it is, like tits. And, like, I do a lot. I do too much. And I'm working on that. And, like, once again, I'm there to do my job. So, I get to work, I respond to emails, and this person whom I met before, whom's seen me face to face, we've talked, we've had conversations, we've looked each other in the eyes. Yeah, which, like I said, I'm making a point. I'm not disappointed, I'm making a point. And, like, we've talked. And he emails me saying, thank you, sir.
I'm trying to figure out who this is. Like, is this have I met this person before?
No.
No, are they like a rep?
Yes.
Not they. Oh, okay. Wait, so they don't work for the same company we work for.
Nope, just
Okay,
an associate.
I was concerned like it was like one of the managers. Like,
No.
Jesus.
That would be funny, but no. So, with that, sorry again, honey, for that.
No, you're good.
So
This guy said sir instead of, and like they met you.
Yes,
like
they
physically
seen
met
me.
you.
And they at least got the name right, so they got that, and I'm like, I'm good with that. Like, that's all I'm asking for. Like, it's not much, but it's honest work, right?
Valid.
So, I was very happy that, Bradley, I like the name Bradley, so that Bradley got my name correct in the emails. And, I didn't care about the sir, because I'm just like, you know what? That's a sign of respect, and I will take it. I will take the sir all day long. So, at that point, like, I think several months into us talking, and once again meeting face to face, like, after months of this, we were working on a opportunity together, and I was just like, here you go, here's all this stuff, here's the information, because I am so detail orientated. And with that, Bradley was like, hey, like, I did such a good job that Bradley, instead of the sir, goes for Mr. Nut. And I'm just like, Mr. Nut? Great heavens! Like, I felt so proud. I'm just like, Mr. Nut. Like, I accomplished a lot from that level of respect, right? So, like, I was riding that high until Michelangelo decided to butt in on my high and go, hey, that is a girl. How embarrassing.
That's also one of our coworkers, right?
No.
Michelangelo's not a coworker?
No.
Oh!
And I'm just like, I just got called Mr. Nut. The highest high, levels of respect. And you just had to weasel in and correct him? After months? How dare you? Like, I felt like I won first place and then just had the trophy snatched away from me.
Yeah, that's the audacity.
I know. Gotta love allergies.
Okay, but so speaking of name place, or your names getting, I'm also really desensitized to being called every different name because, again, family members. Growing up with two older brothers and then eventually a younger brother, and growing up with multiple cousins, in various not locations, but times we would all hang out, or were very frequent. So, for example, like my cousin's birthday or something like that, we would always be there. We grew up like siblings together. It was awesome. But it has its downsides. Case in point, occasionally being called a different name. So constantly. And occasionally even the pet's name will be thrown in there for I don't know why. But so for listeners and everything and viewers of those weirdos, I go by Dis. My full name is Discombobulated. So, but it's easier to call me by a short name. So a lot of my family members only call me by that short name. Very rarely in business do I ever go by the short Dis, unless it's, by friends, really, really close friends and family. No one in my workplace calls me Dis, which is fine. I like the full name. I was given the full name. Please say the full name. Discombobulated. I don't know why it came. It's the first word that popped into my head.
I love it.
Okay. But very rarely do I ever like being called Dis at work, because it's just like that's reserved for people that are special to me and viewers.
I don't call him this.
No. Well, you usually have pet names like Honey or Sweetie.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, but not really Dis. Dis is like, I've done something wrong.
Even his full name.
Not the full. It's not the full discombobulated Howard Nut, but. sorry. Again, the first thing I just throw a name out there. Anywho, I don't go by a full name or a short name. Did you write that down? It's what is that? Minute 150. There you go. Hour 150. Anyways, I get emails from people that are in our organization together. Granted, they're not in the same state as I am, and we hardly ever actually physically see each other, which I'm okay with. I don't feel like driving 2+ hours to go see that tree. I was gonna say establishment, but or the people at the establishment. I for the work I do, I don't need to physically be at a building other than all I need is an internet connection essentially. But that's it. It's not a very difficult job, but it's not a very, it's honest work. It's not a bad job. I do enjoy it. It's fun. Sorry, I might be coming about a little bit too loud, but I'm energetic and passionate about this. They occasionally will call me like how you would write a letter to somebody instead of saying "Dear Stefan" or whatever. They just go, like Stefan, and then whatever they need to say. So they keep saying dis instead of discombobulated. Discombobulated. And I'm like, it's really annoying because at the bottom of the email that I send, it says my full name. So I expect you to call it by the full name. And that just out of respect, like, oh, that's the name that they go with, and that's the name that they identify with. You say that name. It's like saying, like, hey, Bob, and their name's William. They're like, no one calls me Bob. Don't ever do that again.
How dare you?
Like, it's like that, but I have a hard time of saying, like, don't ever, unless I'm physically face to face with that person. And I've worked with them for a while. They'll understand my humor. I say it in a humorous way, but I'm also very serious about it. Anyways, I have one person that I have told twice that continuously calls me by that, and I'm like, okay, you're doing it out of disrespect now. Like, I've told you I prefer to be called this. No, I prefer to be. I know. I prefer to be called my full name, not just this part of the name. And then they still do it, and it's like, that's so rude. It's very rude. But the worst ones at my job. So that one's not that bad. It's about middle grounds of I'm not okay with this. And there's other ones where I'm more okay with it because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
So one of our other coworkers, the one that trained me, would occasionally call me
Yeah.
no, not yeah. No, they wouldn't call me dis. They called me a completely different name. So, like, oh, God, I literally am trying to think of a name that goes with discombobulated, but, like, it's not discombobulated. Yeah. It's hard to do that. But they would say something that had the same letter of my name. So it'd start with a D. So, yeah. Yes, there you go. Thank you. See, I can't think. But disaster is a good example. They would call me disaster or dangerous or something like that. It's like, it's close to discombobulate, but it's not discombobulate. That doesn't bother me that much, like, at all. They said it to my face like 3 or 4 times. Now they work with people that have those names. So it makes sense that they would, jumble it up. There's other times where they're just like, they own up to it and they'll say like, oh, I meant to say, your name, but dangerous came out. Well, you look like a dangerous. And then they look around the room and everyone's like, yeah, no, you look like you can pull that name off. And it's like, It's because I'm white, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 'cause- and that wasn't meant to be a pun off of white people, but it was really funny. But no, like I'm okay with that. The ones that cross the line are where they don't even use names that are in the English language. So this is the actual name. This is the actual name they said. Remember how I said like, dear discombobulate, right? They go, they started off with N-U-L-L, null. Please see the attached blah to see blah, 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 pricing blah, 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 whatever, right? And I'm just sitting there looking at it like, why null? None of those letters are in my name.
Actually, the U is.
Oh, discombobulate, I guess you. And the L.
See? Anyway, still not your name.
But still, like, but the actual word null is like nowhere near to my actual name.
Yeah.
Like, sure, there are like some letters, but that's a real stretch to get there. Like, that's a real long stretch. But like, I was like, what does null even, like, what kind of a name is null? And it's lowercase. It's not even a capital N. It was a lowercase n. It's like, did you just slap your keyboard and then type the message? But the thing is, sorry, I keep hitting my mic. The thing is, this is not something that I work in the company with. This is an external person, like a rep or like a distributor or a vendor or whatever the case may be. And they go, I talk to them normally, like not every day, but like at least once a month they get an email from me and they still call me null. Like that doesn't make, like why, how do you get this name? It doesn't make sense. And why lowercase? It seems like it's more insulting. It's so mean. So I'm again, and I email this person, and at the end of my email, it has my signature on it. So it has my full name on it, and the company I work. So it's not like they don't know who I am. They directly work with this company. So it's just like, why do you keep calling me null? And so it took me a hot second to actually want to, because if it was a one-time thing, I wouldn't have really cared about it. But since it's like whenever they reply, they always reply this way. I want to like look into it. Like, what is this? What is where it means like blank or something? What is null? I'm gonna Google this because I am curious. Because I did it at work and I forgot what it. Something that is invalid, void, or non-existent. Why? Like null and void. Yeah. Well, I can't believe. But yeah, like void of something or invalid. And it's like, ouch. That's so mean. Why? And why is it not capitalized? It just double downs on it. Yeah, there's so many like different. Oh, I didn't know that was a symbol. Well, I knew that as a symbol. The symbol for absolute zero, you know, the zero with a line through it, is apparently the null sign. I didn't know that was a thing. That's how I usually do my zeros. When I would like physically write something out, I'll draw a line through it so they know it's a zero. I don't know why I started doing that. It was dumb. Instead of it being like an O, like if it's like a, for example, car parts, like a car part number, they'll have like numbers, like a serial number. It'll be like, or like a license plate, zeros and O's. There you go. Yeah, like the vendor. God, what is it called? VIN, not vendor. VIN number will have letters and symbols in it, or like your license plate will have like, you know, VO0, and you have to differentiate the O and the zero. You draw a line through it. But I didn't realize that was called the null sign, which is also means absolute zero. Back to math. We circled back to math. You muted yourself. Yeah, take your time.
Yes.
There you go. You're back on. But yeah, the null means void
Yeah. No.
and invalid. Yeah, I didn't realize that was a null and void. And I was like, it's why is it so? Why are they so mean?
I didn't realize how deep that burn was until now.
Yeah, right. Until you look up the actual definition, you're like, ow. And then remember, it's not capitalized, so it's like, ah.
You know what? He was playing 3D chess.
Yeah,
Doing checkers.
but it's I don't know. That's where it's like the worst is when they don't call you by your actual name. Like you're like completely different title or name, and it's just like, what? But it was just I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Too much. You guys do too much. There you go.
I see. So, yeah, no, I agree. Like, it's never fun to just be a number. And, it is very much shenan. And if they're gonna shenan one, they're gonna shenan again.
Yeah.
So, which, makes a lot of people. It makes sense to not be your true, authentic self at work, because honestly, you don't get paid enough to be. And, you know, I don't realize how I present myself at work, or at least I didn't used to know.
How do you mean?
Like, I'm still discovering who that nut is. That Dorothy nut, full government name. And with that, I stray away from a lot of adjectives that, because I think I'm afraid of labeling myself because if I'm wrong on how others perceive me, then I fail. It's a weird mental gymnastics. Like the nut is going everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. And I say this as someone who didn't know anything about themselves. I I suppose I give off a very calm, relaxed facade when I'm at work, especially during first impressions. I'm very polite, very diligent, very work orientated, tunnel vision, if you will. Prim, proper, follows the rules type of person. And I say this because it's very important to, like, that 30 nut might be calm, might be, you know, presenting like they're all put together, like one full squirrel, but that's not the case. And you wouldn't think it when you look at me. So, I have a very sporadic gremlin side to me,
Mm.
and she doesn't show out a whole lot unless very ecstatic or hyper and just really excited about something. Then you'll see a glimpse of her. And or sleep deprived. Then you'll see a lot of her. So, I say this because I used to work nights and you know, I went from working nights to working I think third shift from 10 to 7, fourth shift or something, night shift, whatever. So I went from, you know, a fully night schedule to an 8-hour night schedule, which is fascinating. And with that, I my sleep deprived self doesn't tend to show off that much because it's not a true night shift, right? So I am just setting the scene. And this is one of my my further away hospital gigs, and I'm a temp there because I'm contract and I like to travel. So you know, I I'm very normal presenting towards this one particular manager who reminds me of Santa Claus. Like he's very sweet. He seems like he's one of those managers that's very much there for you, but he has the facial structure and body of Santa Claus, and it's very sweet. So I just thought of him as Santa Claus, and you can't tell me wrong. And so Santa and I were on good terms. Like I renewed a few contracts to stay with them longer, kind of thing. And with that, like I think I was just tired, cause like after a long shift and you're ripping and running, you get tired. I'm no longer that energized bunny. I'm more just of a I'm ready to take my nut and go. And so my gremlin side starts peeping through because I'm tired and there's nothing regulating her. And I accidentally dropped my papers. And Santa Claus, being a kind soul, went to help me retrieve it. And I, in my gremlin state, went, "No, mine!"
God, I love this story.
I felt so bad. Santa looked so surprised. And that was when I knew I dropped the nut.
That was fantastic. It's probably, no, mine.
To be fair, they were my papers.
Well, yeah.
I didn't say the reaction was proportionate in any which way. They were just, indeed, my papers.
I hope you know I'm putting Christmas music in the background.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's a holly jolly Christmas right now.
So I'm going to go on a tangent after I sippy sip.
Okay. So I really don't think I have any more. We are hitting our second hour. You want to keep going? It is 5. You want to keep going?
No, I think this is a perfect time.
Yeah.
So
Let's get off of the holiday music.
I did want to say how synchrony or something synchronicity works.
Yeah.
So before we started this podcast, we were looking. Well, let's be honest. Discombobulated Howard Nut was looking for tunes, and with that, we saw a playlist that had Christmas music in it.
Yeah, it was like Christmas jazz or something.
And I, that Dorothy Nut, proclaimed that we shouldn't be using that playlist because it has Christmas music and it's not Christmas time. So we went away from that playlist only to come back to it.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
And the universe
Well,
let me know.
Well, no, but it would have looped through the song like 3 or 4 times before we got to the Santa. Excuse me, sorry, I burped.
But it needed to be heard, and you know what, universe? I concede.
It was good stuff. It was a sign from the beginning.
And you know what? Fellow nuts, nuttians in the sack. No, I said it right. I just didn't keep a straight face, so still counts. So, this is where we leave you.
What?
Your whole, be good to you, be good to each other. Be
Oh,
good
the
to us,
outro.
the outro.
Oh, okay.
I thought tapping him was a good intro.
Well, I thought you were going to do it. So when you started talking, I was like, all right, she's got this. I'm just going to sit here and wait for my turn.
And I gave him his turn.
was not ready for it to be that
showed him
sudden.
the plate. It was shining. I even tapped him.
Okay.
I thought I did my pull.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you everybody so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, there are 2 other ones before this. You can listen to those ones too. We're always welcome to feedback and, suggestions for what we should talk about in the next session. Or we might do something all different together. Who knows? Stay tuned. Or we have options. A lot of them.
I still do want to do a random day, but I feel like it should be like a random day Tuesday, because that just sounds nice.
A random Tuesday
Yeah.
event.
Yeah, because we have a lot of ideas, and I figure we can do the spin the roulette and just to see.
We'll have to make it.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah, that sounds like a fun. Maybe this Tuesday, maybe next Tuesday.
A Tuesday is a Tuesday.
A Tuesday is a Tuesday. That's funny. So yeah, stay on the lookout for that. That's gonna be fun. And give us a follow, subscribe to the channel. If you're over on TikTok, we're over on Twitch. If you're over on Twitch, these are going to be uploaded every Monday on YouTube's. Yes, it's going to be uploaded every Monday on YouTube. We record every Sunday, so if you're listening to this in the past, you can catch us live. We usually, voice cracked. Sorry. We just go into a completely different serious voice. We usually go live on Sundays between like 3-ish, 3 or 4. We're somewhere around there in the evening.
Whenever the nut drops.
Usually in the afternoon time.
Yes.
When we get some of our chores done that we need to get done. So
Very busy.
we usually go live around then. So stay tuned for us to go live
A
on
live recording.
Sundays. Yeah. Pre-recorded in front of a live audience. None of those statements make any sense, but regardless, we go live every Sunday, and I go live on the other account, on Old Drew Studios as just a normal PNG Let's Player. Stick tuned for those 2. Show me some love there. And Tep. I don't know why I was gonna say tactical, and that it just flew out of my mouth. Why was I gonna say tactical?
Tactical nut.
Oh my god, my brain literally just like had a spasm. Just like.
And I was watching him like slow mo come to me, and just like swing towards me in this chair. And just because my brain works in memes, I kept going or hearing do 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 do, and I'm like, this is weird.
Cut all of it out. Cut it out. Edit that out. No.
In a live recording.
You can't. It's live. But anyways, stay tuned for our next session, which we also don't know what we're going to talk about. So any kind of recommendations, drop us down. If you want to tell us your stories, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would do that.
I mean, there are definitely Reddits.
Yeah.
I think that's where many people do it. Just like a Reddit's
We don't-
channel.
We don't have a Reddit channel though.
It'll be.
Stay tuned for that one. I'll call it the nut. No, I will not. No, I will not call it the nut sack. That is not a Reddit community you should go to. We've had this happen. I've had this happen to me where I typed in, we know the story.
I know, like.
But we'll figure out something. But leave us a comment down below if you guys have any suggestions of what we should talk about. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yes, until the next nut drops.
Until the
guys.
next nut drops. I forgot. Bye-bye.
Bye.